Welcome to another edition of our Pittsburgh Sports Line live in the BPTV studio. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. We appreciate you and all your good comments. And Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry Wexford. Appreciate you watching us there. And on Facebook, we hit a brand new high of 6,525 likes. So thanks for liking and watching our shows. We appreciate that. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner next to me. He's back after he missed last week, and Smoking Jim held down the fort with me. He's here, was on time, was talking to Steve about going to school. So Smoking Jim, with his history of homeschooling, it's rare that he talked to somebody going to college. So I enjoyed overhearing that conversation. Devin Shea just adjusted that camera. I wondered why I was off center to all my fans out there. But I'm here now, straight up with that. I do have some promos that I wanted to first thank Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. Want to say hi to Sarah, the manager. They were pretty busy when I walked in there, and then they got an order for the Boy Scouts. 15 extra large pizzas had to come up after I left.
Wow.
They said, "Do you want to wait for your pizza?" I said, "We got a show to do at 7," and it was delicious.
The show must go on, right?
Yeah, I was not waiting. So thanks again, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Here's a picture with Joey Fabus, the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Check it out. They got a 5K walk and run September 17th. Check that out. Bethel Park Historical Society. Check them out online. There's the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Right on South Park Road, has the trolley there. You can see it there. They do a lot of great things in the community. Check them out. Donate as little as $1 there. Bethel Park Historical Society. All right, if your group needs money, Bethel Park groups and organizations who need money, go to bpcf.org, grab an application. You get from $100 to $5,000. Check it out. And Dave Cable likes to have some fun with me. I want you on BPTV. Put my face on Uncle Sam there. You can see me smiling. I want you for BPTV. Last week we had a shortage. Steve, the intern, couldn't make it. He had his first week of school. Devin Shea couldn't make it, was tied up on his job as they relocated. And Ethan come in, got to press the button. So we recorded last week's show with Smoking Jim and I. No special effects. Tonight, Devin Shea's in there, and Steve is back for more business here. So they'll have special effects for us and commercials. And we're going to start our show with What's on Your Mind. So, Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
I found it.
you got to see Levine.
And you're wearing a nice green Pittsburgh Sports Line polo.
Yeah, I love it.
And he made that catch just like that new tight end for the Steelers is.
And
Yeah, but he drops them every so often there.
took the words right out of my mouth. I tell you what, I want to open up with Vance McDonald. Very excited about that particular trade. Only a fourth round a trade for a guy of his caliber. He's former second round pick, 6'4", 265 pounds with 4.6 speed, 31 reps at 225, coming out of Rice University. I tell you what, this is going to be a guy, kind of reminds me of Mark Bavaro.
Whoa.
New York Giant tight end. He's not as mean as Mark, but he's more athletic and more enthusiastic. Yeah, enthusiastic guy. He's going to be a guy that the fans love. When he scores a touchdown, I tell you what, man, he takes the air out of that ball with his spikes. The only problem is, the iffy problem is he's coming off of shoulder surgery. So,
Well, doesn't he drop the ball a lot?
he got good hands.
I heard some records that he drops a lot of passes.
You must have heard that from Jesse James.
No, Jesse James was surprised by the trade.
Yeah, he goes back to the bench. I mean, this guy's not going to get tackled by cornerbacks. So if he's healthy, he's strong, he can block, good all-around tight
He
end.
averaged 16 yards of reception last year.
He runs away from people, too. I mean, he's had some catches for touchdowns for over 75.
How did we get him for a
65
fourth-round
yards.
pick?
That's what I'm saying. It has to be.
There's something.
I'm shocked. San Francisco's pretty much giving him away, but then again, he missed a lot of last year with surgery.
But they just signed him, and he's going to get $19 million over the next 3 years. Maybe it was just a salary dump to get them into a better cap position.
That makes sense.
That sounds a lot better than injuries. I tell you what.
Well, he's injured.
So what's on my mind is
what is it?
First of all, a little bit upset with the newspapers here, and you turn on Monday's paper and all you see is Pine Ridgeland on the front page of Mondays. I mean, they played Saturday. It's not Monday. They're covering the game on Monday. It's a two-page spread on Pine Ridgeland. So because of that, and the bias, media coverage of Pine Ridgeland, plus Artie Burns, his brother, who's the fastest in the country in track and the hurdles. He goes right to Pine Ridgeland and plays football and track. As a senior, I think he transferred for obviously athletic intent.
What do you mean? I think it was academic.
so
How can a guy of your stature talk like that?
So because of that, there will be no Pine Ridgeland Pittsburgh Sportsline Player or Team of the Week. A good Pittsburgh Sportsline karma goes out to Dennis Briggs. Pitt announced he's one of the team captains this year, so congratulations to a guest of the show, Dennis Briggs, who also got married this summer.
I know, I saw that. I remember when he first come on the show.
With his woman.
Yeah.
And, so the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week goes to wide receiver defensive back, black kid actually being recruited by Ivy League schools, 4.0 student, the boyfriend of Darrell Porter's daughter. And
I'm confused.
Yeah. His name is Farley. Farley did a great job in Amani's 52-14 victory.
He just has one name?
Yes. Sam Farley. He's
Thanks, Smoking Chim.
9 catches, 206 yards, and a pair of TDs. And the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week goes to none other than Erie Prep, 40-7 victory over Central Catholic. So, again, Erie Prep and Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week got to go to Steubenville, 40-7.
Where are they located at?
Steubenville, Ohio, 40-7 victory over Upper St. Clair.
This is Western Pennsylvania,
And the
buddy.
only
I got to throw
Western
the flag on
Pennsylvania
this.
team to win over the weekend was Pine Ridgeland.
Who?
That's why they put them on the front of the main sports page.
Not on Monday. Should have been Sunday.
And
The game was
Phil
Saturday.
Jurgovic, he's
I love him.
he's already signed with Notre Dame. Is that correct?
Yeah. Not officially, because you can't do it until February.
Rich
but he
Kelly
gave us
doesn't
verbal.
deserve him. Is that the one? Is that the coach named Rich Kelly?
Well, you know that last Notre Dame's quarterback is a rookie starting quarterback for Cleveland, Kaiser. So maybe
He will be the 27th starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns since 1999.
I like their new uniforms.
Yeah. Hey, Smoking Jim, on a little side note, I ran into a woman named Stephanie Ferguson.
How's she doing?
She's doing fine.
Okay.
She said she's watched our show.
Okay.
And then, Chip, she said, my husband played football with Smoking Jim Frazier. I said, when was that? She goes, I don't want to talk about it, but you guys have a nice bunch of guests that you have.
Ferguson, yeah, from Riverview.
Ferg.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good wide receiver.
They called him
defensive back.
Ferg or Fergie.
He's in the hospital business now. Yeah,
I knew you'd know it,
He's
so
much
Ferguson,
older than
white
you.
guy.
They
White guy,
what?
yeah.
Hey, he's much older than
White
you.
guy
right?
with a black man.
Well, that's why when I run into people, Stephanie said, "Yeah, you could mention my name to him." And
great athlete, great all-around athlete. That's back when Riverview really produced some really good ball.
But he played football with you. He played.
Well, unfortunately, we played the same position, so it didn't work out real well for him. But he still was a great athlete.
Yeah, but he played at Cal U with you.
Yeah, if he'd have went there at a different time, he'd have put up some big numbers. But unfortunately,
you kept him out.
Unfortunately, he came.
Well, they're fans of our show.
Yeah, that's good.
They've watched our show. And
great player.
They catch a repeat here or there. And
good-looking guy too.
I didn't see him.
I'm sure his wife is beautiful.
I just met her, Stephanie.
Yeah. He got a really good job in the hospital.
Okay, well, I'm glad you acknowledged that the guy played. What year was that?
Yeah, Ferguson, man. He was really good. Riverview was real good, too.
Yeah, the year?
Yeah. We should have brought in more Riverview recruits.
19.
Those guys were really good.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
I did thank her in advance.
Ferg is my man. He could catch anything.
Because she goes, "Aren't you on TV?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "We watch your show."
He can catch anything in the zip code, brother.
Nice.
Yeah, fast, too.
And there you have a little fiction, and not fiction, in fact, but what's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier with a little extra. Now we got Chip Hayner. What's on your mind, Chip?
Well, good evening, everybody, and glad to be back in the seat between my two dear friends, Alan on my right, Smoking Jim on my left, and just a little update here. All the proceeds from the Texans Cowboys preseason game on Thursday will be donated to Hurricane Harvey relief. And the person that you can thank for that is none other than the big brother of TJ Watt, JJ Watt, three-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Started a GoFundMe page yesterday, donated $100,000 of his own money to the hurricane relief. Set the goal at $200,000, and then a couple hours later had to up the goal to $500,000. Then he had to up the goal to $1 million. Now that he's broken the $3 million mark in monies raised, he set the bar at $4 million. I think it's a great thing to see a player from a local team, from an area that's being devastated. His teammates' families are stuck in the water in Houston. And he was the one that said on Good Morning America this morning, the NFL should step up, and the proceeds of the game between the Cowboys and the Texans being played Thursday, which is being played in Dallas, should go for hurricane relief, and the NFL answered the call. So good job for Roger.
And he didn't take a knee. He didn't take a knee.
And
he got action in society. This is a shocker.
He didn't disrespect the United States of America or the flag or any of that. But you ask what's on my mind. And,
yes.
I had a busy week. A couple of ball games this weekend. This past weekend, actually, I was at a ball game it was on a Friday night, Saturday night. Then I ended up falling into tickets for Wednesday night's baseball game. And one of the reasons why I love that game so much, in a season that there's really very few positives to look at with the Pirates, it's been a relatively negative year. And thank you much to one of our local radio stations that do everything they can to badmouth the Pirates and to talk down on them and to incite people to hate the owner. I went to the ballpark last Wednesday night. Watch a ball game. And one of the things that I always say to my wife when we go to weeknight ball games, hey, once it gets to be 9 o'clock, if it, I may not have a problem leaving early, because I have to get up at 4 in the morning. But I said, there's only one condition. If somebody's pitching a no-hitter, we're staying till the end. Lo and behold, I almost witnessed the 25th perfect game pitched in Major League Baseball history. Had it not been for an error by the Dodgers third baseman in the top of the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth inning, I would have watched a perfect game pitched. The game was tied 0-0 after 9 innings. The Pirates were no hit because the runners got on base. It was an error. They retired, and lo and behold, what happens in the bottom of the 10th? Dodgers manager sends the same pitcher out, tries to get his no-hitter. First batter he faces, Jay Hay puts it in the seats. 1 hit, 1 run, game over. No-hitter gone, perfect game gone, shutout gone, all in one swing. It was a beautiful thing to watch. But something like that could happen any given day. Now, in my life, even though that does not count officially as a no-hitter, that was the 3rd such game that I have witnessed in my lifetime. There have been people that have been going to baseball games for 70 or 80 years that haven't seen a no-hitter. I've witnessed.
He has only gone to 1 game.
I've witnessed 2 legitimate, and one I will consider Wednesday night's game a no-hitter because it was
9 innings.
9 innings. He faced 28 batters.
Yeah.
And got out 27 of them. I kept telling my wife, because I was trying to jinx him after the 3rd inning, I was like, that's 9 up and 9 down. He's pitching a perfect game.
Yeah.
And I made sure I raised my voice so it could carry out onto the field because I wanted to do everything I could to jinx him. But I will tell you what, it didn't matter if it wasn't a Pirates pitcher that was pitching the game. The Pirates pitcher that night, Trevor Williams, I think pitched a better game than Rich Hill pitched, who was the Dodgers pitcher, because he pitched 8 innings of shutout baseball, and he had runners on base in almost every inning, and he pitched his way out of it. And I think that was a much more masterful job of pitching. But
for a first-year pitcher, he's doing nice.
Dodgers pitcher, he was dealing that night. Every batter that he faced, he started out with an 0-2 count. And it was pretty amazing. But hey, I love the Pirates. I love baseball. Last Wednesday night was a perfect example of why I love that game. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks for sharing that,
Can I say one thing real quick before we go to you, Levine, to talk about?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you talked about Houston, a lot of people know, and you guys know, that over the years I got a lot of local kids here, scholarships at Prairie View A&M, thanks to former Shinley League great Miles Brandon, who used to be the head coach at Lane College, where Fred Lane was a running back, the one that got killed by his mistress or whatever, former Carolina running back. So before Miles got fired from Lane College in about 2 years as a head coach, he got hired by Prairie View A&M as a defensive coordinator. So, but he had made a post, if anybody had a boat that can come rescue him and his family.
Wow.
So prayers go out to Miles Brandon, excellent football coach, defensive coordinator, not much of a head coach. But
did he get a vote?
But he did a great job of getting guys scholarships out of here to Houston, and it was a growing city, definitely. So
Houston will bounce back, and my hearts and our prayers go out to the people that live in Houston and all of southern Texas and eastern and western Louisiana. It's just unbelievable.
Has it slowed down some?
Well, they said that the way the storm is tracking now, that's by tomorrow, the rain's going to stop, and it's going to stop from west to east. So, because the way the storm's tracking, still, I mean, they've gotten over 4 feet of rain. You realize that like an inch of rain is usually the equivalent of like 12 inches of snow. Wow. Can you imagine? I mean,
my brother's in Dallas. He's nice and dry.
It's up a little higher.
Yeah, he's up. Yeah, but really, really unfortunate series of events, and what a mess! What a mess!
Yeah, our prayers go out to him, no doubt about it. Hey, I'm going through Facebook like I do. I'm always posting some things. Did my loose leaf green tea weather report, and I come across something about the Browns, and everybody's always putting something on the Browns. Last week, some of their players had knelt down. Well, legendary Jim Brown had a little conversation with them to not disrespect the flag, and everybody in solidarity stood up for the game, and nobody knelt like they did the week before. So Jim Brown come back and said, if you're going to do something socially, go try to do that, but don't disrespect your country or the flag.
Wow.
So it was nice to see that with the different issues that he's had over years. Our one author friend, Deborah Clark, talked about domestic abuse. So, here's a guy that's overcome so many things and, is actually a legend on and off the field in many ways. Here he is speaking in front of the Cleveland Browns, getting the solidarity, so they all stood up.
That whole thing, you're trying to make a point, and what happens is your point is becoming moot because so many people are offended by your act. If you're really interested in doing some good and making and being the vehicle of change, then you know what? There are other ways to go about it that will actually produce better results.
How can you say that? We're 3,000 miles away and we're talking about it, so it produced the results.
Here's one thing that you already did say tonight, which happened. J.J. Watt.
He's white.
He put $100,000 of his own money, started a GoFundMe page to help people in Houston.
You think Julius Peppers would have done that? He'd have got $5 million?
No, because
he's a white guy.
Well,
what's the difference?
Because most of the people you're talking about, since you brought race out, how many GoFundMes have you donated to that people have asked you and I about that have started being on our show? So I don't like to throw the race card out. I treat people how they are, but people earn their reputation by how they act. I don't care what color they are. It's how they act.
But I still
J.J. Watt.
He does a great job.
He did it. He went to the public, challenged the NFL, and they folded.
But do you think that Julius Peppers could have raised the same amount of money as J.J. Watt?
I don't know what he's thinking. I'd like to hear. Maybe you could get him on the show and we'll do an interview.
How did Julius Peppers get entered into this?
He's black.
Because he's black. He's a future Hall of Famer like J.J. Watt.
Okay, well, what does he have to do with the Houston Texans or the city of Houston?
But what I'm saying is, J.J. Watt started a GoFundMe. J.J. Watt started a GoFundMe page. And raised $5 million. I'm not so sure that $3 million. I'm not so sure a black player could have raised that much money with a GoFundMe page.
I think you're prejudiced.
I'm just saying. I'm not prejudiced. Well, I'm just saying. J.J. Watt lends his name. You look at some of the most successful golf. Look at what Mario and some of these other guys can do with for it's a great cause. But there's some people of minority that also host golf tournaments and stuff like that. I don't see it raising the same amount of money. So I'm just saying the name recognition has a lot to do with it. Reputation has a lot to do with it. But I'm not so sure.
You shouldn't have brought.
But I'm not so sure a lot of people trust black folks with their money.
It goes to a GoFundMe page. All right, Smoking Jim. We know you got issues in the black community. I don't know what the story is. I appreciate your opinion. Doesn't apply. Thanks for watching. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bethel Park. Remember me? My name is Jason Planitzer. I was the host of a little show here. You may have seen it. It was called The Jason Planitzer Show.
What would you say your experience at BPTV, how has that had an impact on your life?
I found my voice. I learned how to be funny. I learned how to create things. I learned how to collaborate with people here. I developed an interest in film and comedy and making videos. It stuck with me. It continued through my life. I got into working on motion pictures. I now I'll produce small videos. I'll work with producers on commercials, television projects, feature films. I scout locations on TV shows and movies, which involves me reading scripts, finding the locations that need to be shot, and collaborating with the director and production designer to find the perfect spot. It all started at BPTV for me.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner. And this is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. And again, I'd like to say that everybody's entitled to their First Amendment right. But
who's that applied to?
My Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac goes all the way back to Saturday night. Enjoyed myself Saturday night with Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We witnessed history. It was a champion, two champions, one from the MMA, which is the mixed martial arts world. The other champion is a boxing legend, and I am looking forward to the rematch. And I went back and watched the fight, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip. I ended up watching the fight again.
Did you?
And I had McGregor winning the first 7 rounds. I had the 8th round a draw, and he lost the 9th and 10th round. So I had a 7-2-1, at the 10th round when it was stopped. McGregor, in my opinion, and this is history, fellas, McGregor looked like a seasoned pro-level boxing champion. He had fast hands. You have to admit, and I hope you get a chance to watch it on Saturday, Chip, if you get a chance, but he threw some unique combinations that I personally never seen before. When you talk about uppercuts in the history of boxing, Mike Tyson threw one of the best uppercuts I've ever seen. The heavyweight champ of the world right now, Anthony Joshua, throws an uppercut that's unbelievable. Wilfredo Gomez was great with the uppercut. How about Sandy Sattler? But Jersey Joe Walcott and Conor McGregor probably threw the best uppercuts I've ever seen in my life. He hit Mayweather with an uppercut that would have literally dropped heavyweights. And just finally, I want to say about Mayweather is that just like Cassius Clay, who most people thought couldn't take a punch, it wasn't until he turned into Muhammad Ali and slowed down that everybody seen that he could really take a punch. Well, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather and Money Mayweather really never got hit. Matter of fact, McGregor hit him more than any other fighter in the history of his 21-year boxing career. And this is the first time that he earned my respect because he has a granite chin. And that's the reason why he didn't go by the 4th round. I didn't anticipate McGregor running out of gas in the 10th round because he trained through his sparring partners for a 12-round fight. So I'm looking forward to the rematch. Hope to see it again. Hope to see McGregor again. Outstanding fighter. Him and Floyd, let's do it again. And that's your Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I can't believe I wasted $25. I enjoyed our company. I enjoyed your treats, snacking off the great food at Duke's Rib House and Grill, but it was a total waste of money.
Really?
I knew money would win, and whatever McGregor come out with,
he looked good though.
He was getting tired by the 6th, 7th round.
Yeah.
He was starting to stagger around, and another thing that was unusual that you failed to mention is the aggressiveness of Money Mayweather, who was constantly taking his fight to McGregor. He pressed him the whole fight, even though I give the first 3 rounds at least to McGregor. After that, they started getting a little sketchy there with how many punches, and then the power of his punches was lacking. It was lacking. And when you're a boxer, you train to box. So he learned something. That's all I could say. Should there be a rematch? No, sir.
Really?
No, sir.
Okay. I'd like to see it.
No, sir.
Depends on how much more money the IRS needs.
He's paying him in full now.
Well, he just donated some money to hurricane victims, Harvey. So.
Oh, did he? Good. I was worried about the $30 million he owed the IRS.
About $100 million.
I thought it was 30.
No, and then he owed them another 100 plus from this fight. So, yeah, about $200 million he had to cough up.
Well, that's good. He
So
could
maybe
pay
it's
for
a
it.
tax write-off to donate some of that to the
hurricane.
It would, but you can only write off so much.
Okay.
Now that we covered the race card, the tax card, Smoking Jim, we'll talk to you later. But it was nice watching the fight with you. I
Thank you,
enjoyed
sir.
the company. Definitely. Amazing.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my trivia segment. Start off once again, what else? But with some baseball trivia. And just simply because I like this guy's name, I'll include him in my trivia. But on August the 29th, 1934, the Philadelphia A's ended Schoolboy Rowe's 16-game winning streak.
Wow.
With a 13-5 victory over the Detroit Tigers. August the 29th, 1965, San Francisco, possibly the greatest player to ever play the game. San Francisco's Willie Mays broke Ralph Kiner's National League record with his 17th home run of the month in an 8-3 triumph over the New York Mets. Kiner had 16 homers in September of 1949. Mays hit a tape measure shot off of Jack Fisher. And somebody else that may be flirting with that record right now, wearing a Miami Marlins uniform, Giancarlo Stanton. He hit his 50th home run yesterday. I believe he's got 17 for the month already.
Wow.
I could be wrong.
Wow.
We'll have to
This month is
fact check
almost
that.
over.
This month is almost over. In 1971, Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves knocked in his 100th run of the season, giving him a National League record of 11 seasons with 100 or more RBIs. That's what you call consistency right there. Then a player of not much note played for the Cleveland Indians in the 70s. 1977, August the 29th, Cleveland's Dwayne Kuiper hit a one-out solo home run in the first inning off Chicago's Steve Stone at Municipal Stadium. Municipal Stadium was, in fact, the mistake on the lake that everybody has referred to in Cleveland. It was Kuiper's only home run in 3,379 career at-bats, the fewest homers in most at-bats for any player in Major League Baseball history.
Wow.
So,
How did he last that long?
he entered the record books for something. Don Baylor, the New York Yankees, in 1985, August the 29th, set an American League record when he was hit by pitch for the 190th time.
Wow.
Baylor was struck by California Angels Kirk McCaskill in the first inning, breaking the mark of 189 set by Minnie Minoso.
No way.
Also, in August the 29th, a lot of things happened on this date. Various years. 1993, George Brett recorded his 200th stolen base in Kansas City's 5-4 12-inning victory over Boston to join Willie Mays and Hank Aaron as the only players with 3,000 hits, 300 home runs, and 200 steals in their career.
What a club that is.
Yeah, that is what you call exclusive. Let's see what I've got. What else do I have here? August the 10th, 1995. Fall night at Dodger Stadium turned into the first forfeit in the majors in 16 years. Los Angeles forfeited a game to the St. Louis Cardinals after fans threw souvenir baseballs onto the field 3 times. The game was called with 1 out in the 9th.
That shows a lot of patience. It took the third time to
The
shut him down.
umpires just didn't have a sense of humor when it came to throwing balls back onto the field. I don't think that they've given those away since. That was almost like Disco Demolition Night back in the late 70s. Who was that?
It sounds like a
Bill
free
Veeck.
beer type of.
Yeah, Bill Veeck of the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
And let me see. Anything else that I've got here that I feel was of note? No, that should just about do it. August the 10th, 2003, Atlanta Braves shortstop Rafael Furcal turned the 12th unassisted triple play in Major League history against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
So think about that. There has been 23 perfect games pitched in Major League Baseball history. That's over 150 years.
Yeah.
Okay? And I almost watched the number 24th get pitched on Wednesday night.
It's amazing.
But
Hey, you stayed that long. That's amazing. You put 10 innings
well,
in.
you know what the ironic thing was? The game was so well pitched. They were into between the 8th and the 9th inning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
The game started at
You had to
7:05.
be bored out of your mind.
2 hours? I'll take a 2-hour baseball game every day of the week, my friend.
With no hits?
I'm telling you what, there was some excellent defense played. There was there was some leather being flashed that night.
You have a hard time staying awake?
Not a bit, man. I
was
was right on the edge of my seat, you know. And then when I was at the game the previous Friday, got a ball.
Did you? Yeah, I seen that on Facebook.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's right, we got a
Wow.
ball. Gave that to my lovely wife.
She run over a kid to catch it?
No, actually, I reached out with my left hand and snagged it just when it was about 2 inches away from my wife's head.
Wow.
So, yeah, that paid dividends.
Wow. Thank you very much, Chip, for
Did you keep the stub at the game?
Yes, I do. I have all 4 ticket stubs from that game. Yeah, I had 4 seats.
Wow.
See?
We're getting too deep on this. Thanks for the
yeah.
trivia, Chip. Appreciate that.
And I went like this. They just snatched it out of the air with my
One
left
hand.
They're still discussing the catch for
One
the
hand.
baseball. On location, September 11th, we'll be back at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and More in Brookline. We're lining up some guests for the show. We'll be there 7:30 to 8:30. Come out there for your $5 pizzas and whatever food they have. It's a great food at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, as all of you know, in Hillcrest Shopping Center, Washington, Cannonsburg, and now Brookline Boulevard, 930 Brookline Boulevard. Come on out to see us. We'll be there Monday, September 11th, so check that out. That's all I have for you on location.
I got a guest lined up already for that.
You want to tell me?
I'll tell you off here.
Okay, so we're moving on here.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore, it's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, and one of the things they don't have is the equipment, you know, but right here is everything that you need is in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks, like anything that you'd want to use that you would need for a production, you have it right here, like it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and you know, let Dave be your guide.
BPTV. Come volunteer. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be here. BPTV. Come on in, make a show.
It's still fun after all these years.
Welcome back for some Bucko talk. Chief, I hope you had your dessert and you ate your meal and you enjoy some Bucko talk here. I'm a little disappointed with them being 9 games back, 30 games to play. It's been a tough year. And then I hear Kong could be playing in the Dominican Republic on shortstop or third base. He may get a visa for that. So
well, you know what?
There's rumors of that.
There's rumors of that. I still, if I was the Pittsburgh Pirates, I would send Jose Osuna to winter ball. I would have him learn how to play third base. I would still keep my options available because, you know, there is no guarantees that Gong will be back. You know, they're hoping that he will be. I would have a plan B because they went into this year by making a huge mistake by not having a plan B. They were counting on Gong and they were counting on Marte, and both players were serious disappointments and let the team down, the city of Pittsburgh, you know, and the fans more than anything else. But, you know, one thing I will say about this Pirates team, and it does appear that the Pirates, any chance that they had for making the playoffs this year, I think is pretty much off the table. But I will tell you one thing about this team. This team plays all 9 innings, and they play.
They never quit.
They all 27 outs. They play with the full effort. And the one thing I could definitely say is Clint Hurdle has not lost his team. These players have not given up. And you know, there's some circumstances led to a disappointing season. Some moves need to be made, and we'll see what happens between now and next spring.
9 games under 500. Are you still happy with the young pitching staff?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And did you think that a young pitching staff would not go through growing pains?
Well, this is the 3rd year in a row I think they're under 500. So, and this is a team.
No, wait a minute.
This team
the
won
third
98
year.
games.
Last year was the first year that they were under 500. They spent 3 years in a row going to the playoffs.
This only the second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because,
I got
you
mine.
know, like, and I'm going to call you out when you don't have your facts.
Math wasn't your strong suit.
I usually have some rocks in my pocket so I can count.
Math was not your strong suit, whatever school you were, and you weren't homeschooled. So.
But, you know, there are some positives if you want to look at it. You know, the Pirates have definitely found their first baseman of the future.
I agree with
and of the present. And was it not for Cody Bellinger, who is playing in one of the biggest television markets in the world, for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Josh Bell would be hands down the Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, Cody Bellinger plays for the Dodgers. Will probably end up winning that award, and he probably had that award won in July. But you look at Bell's statistics compared to Bellinger's.
You're talking
right there.
You're talking National League.
National League.
Okay.
National League. So.
They each get one.
Because the kid for the Yankees will
They
win
each get one.
American League, right?
Aaron Judge, more than likely, but Aaron Judge, they've benched him to help him to try to get his swing back because he's been in a serious slump. I will say this: I did watch that young man play ball in April this year when the Yankees were in town. And he hit probably one of the farthest home runs that I've seen hit at PNC Park.
Wow.
The batter's eye, which was out in center field behind the wall. It's that big green thing, okay? Well, he hit a ball that landed on top of that.
Wow.
You know, that was...
well, like Smoking Jim doesn't realize that everybody studies whoever's having success. And they all work at finding the edge, and the pitchers found out Judge has a couple weaknesses.
Ain't none of the Pirates pitchers struck him out.
Well, that's history. Smoking Jim, you're a little late on this, but they look for weaknesses. That's what they do. It's like in your NFL. the defensive schemes. They're studying the offense and who does this, what tells they have, and all the other nonsense that you want to put out there.
Just like when they used to watch Barry Bonds 200 times a year.
Well, they were afraid of him.
No weakness.
They were afraid of
I agree.
Barry Bonds.
That's true.
There's no doubt. Matter of fact, a little statistic, I heard that the 73 home runs that Bonds hit,
I want to hear this.
he did it in 476 at-bats.
Oh, that'll never. That's
Stanton
something. That's
is
something.
479 at-bats and 50 home runs. So people that want to say how great he's doing, he's a good hitter. And he's coming to fruition with the talents and skills. But Bonds had 73.
Wow. That's amazing.
But here's another thing that a lot of people don't mention is the fact that right now, with Giancarlo Stanton as hot as he is, because of the contract extension that he signed, that was for over $300 million. Now the Miami Marlins are looking to find somebody to trade him to, because putting up that kind of money for one player has a tendency to cause financial troubles for the team that signed him.
Jeter can't buy the team with the contract
And here's what happens is the money for the contract doesn't kick in till next year. And next year, the first year of 10 years, he starts out at $27 million, and it goes up $1 million every year moving forward. So, there are some teams that have made inquiries, one of them being the St. Louis Cardinals, believe it or not.
Wow.
But, it would have to be a big market team like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the
ones that have some
the
big
Cubs, the Dodgers,
TV contracts.
that have, do you realize that the Los Angeles Dodgers, I think their television contract is like $16 billion.
Wow.
And it's just like, and until baseball has true revenue sharing and can institute a salary cap, you're always going to have the haves and the have-nots in Major League Baseball.
You sure you got your decimals in the right place? 16 billion?
Billion.
Now, is that player worth that kind of money?
300.
Because I see you got off the power talk quick.
Yeah,
so.
well, you know what? My humble opinion, I don't believe any player's worth that kind of money. Okay. But you know what? If people are willing to pay him, and people are willing to pay to go to the game and buy all the merchandise that makes that to happen, then I guess so. But my humble opinion, I don't believe that anybody's worth that money.
Can I ask you a question? Because neither of you guys are homeboys, and neither am I. I was disappointed with the Pirates and Major League Baseball for Easy J and stuff like that on the back of their jerseys. What are you thinking of? That's Bush League, wasn't it? That's Bush League.
Don't you agree? Sell jerseys.
You know what? If you want to look at reasons to knock down baseball, I'm sure you can find them. But that didn't bother me in one way or another.
It didn't?
Not a bit.
Just like Smoking Jim Frazier saying it. What's your nickname?
Didn't bother me a bit.
What's your nickname, Smoking Jim? Penguin hat?
So now to get on another subject here, okay? So now we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so they keep on stockpiling offensive weapons.
Mm-hmm. They need them.
And they also need cornerbacks. And they don't seem to have anybody that looks like they can
good point.
Play. So much so that now people are starting to say that when Joe Hayden, for the Browns are looking to trade him. Of course they're looking to trade him. They owe him $20 million between this year and next year. So that about eliminates him for the possibility of being traded to the Steelers, because that will put him into salary cap money. And then the next ridiculous thing I heard was, they ought to sign Darrelle Revis. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's 31 other teams in the NFL, and nobody signed him. Nobody's made an attempt to sign him. And the New York Jets, as bad as they are willing to pay him $6 million not to play for them this year.
Is that right?
Do you think they know something that the rest of us don't? To look at those two as a possible solution to our problem. But, if we don't do something about the secondary, we're not even going to have to worry about playing the Patriots in Foxborough in January, because we're not going to make it there.
Well, sometimes the best defense is a great offense. And if something ever happens to Ben, I tell you what, Landry Jones throws the prettiest interceptions I've ever seen in my life. It's July, and it's August. He got gloves on both hands.
Yeah.
And he threw the tightest spiral for an interception in the end zone. I mean,
Even
we just have no
Neil
backup
O'Donnell's?
quarterback. Neil was my man. That was my man. You know, I got a little Irish. You know, I got a little Irish in me, McGregor.
Super Bowl 30,
O'Donnell.
man. I didn't like that a bit.
Well, he got bought off, yeah. But other than that, he had a great career.
Who?
Is he one of the 25 and 0?
No.
27.
27. You know, it just broke my heart that they put Bradshaw in that, you know.
Why?
There is not an athlete that has played for a Pittsburgh team that I have less respect for than Terry Bradshaw.
How about Lambert?
Lambert's in.
But he never comes back to visit.
He does, and you know what he did? He came and paid his respect to the Rooney family. Yeah. He paid his respects to Chuck Noll's widow.
That's true.
I mean,
I
see
what you mean.
Right there.
Smoking Jim stands corrected.
Bradshaw did that to Art Sr. too. He didn't come back to Pittsburgh.
No, for the Chiefs, yeah, he didn't.
No. So he's disrespected. Yeah. If it wasn't for the Rooney family, who would know who Terry Bradshaw is?
Well, if it wasn't for the Rooneys, Terry would. His first year, he threw 2 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. Terry, there's no other team. He owed the Rooneys and Chuck Noll a lot because they were so patient with him. He wasn't the quarterback that Terry Hamready was early in his career.
Let me tell you something.
Kept on with him.
And I remember because I grew up as a young man when the Steelers went from being nobodies to being somebodies. And I'm going to tell you something. That Steelers team of the 70s, Terry Hanratty could have won 4 Super Bowls with that team behind him.
Come on, don't
I'm going to tell you something.
That's not
maybe Super Bowl 14 when Bradshaw lit up the Rams, maybe. But I'm telling you what, that defense is what won them all the championships.
He could have won at least 2, maybe 3 like that.
2 maybe the first 2. Second 2 was all Terry. Terry was greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time those last 2 years.
But I just,
when they loosened the rules,
disrespecting Pittsburgh icons just doesn't sit well with me and never will.
I can't argue there.
What about Bill
Even
Nunn?
though I had lunch with Bradshaw.
Yeah, here's the next
What about Bill Nunn?
This was brought up by your friend Paul Zeiss, but
my friend.
Missing on the list was Bill Nunn on the Steelers Hall of Fame, and I think that's an injustice. I think he deserves to be there as much as any of the players.
Well, you can't put him in over Myron Cope.
Myron Cope isn't in.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Bill Nunn's not one of them. He can't go in first 25. Next 25. He
was 27.
He didn't even start getting credit for what he did to his last few years.
He was the architect of the drafts of the 70s.
Yeah, but nobody talked about it to his last few years of his life, really, last 10 years of his life. He did all that.
Wasn't he involved with the Pittsburgh Courier?
He ran the Pittsburgh Courier, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the Pittsburgh Courier, which was a national newspaper when Bill Nunn was the head of it, and he came in under his dad. His dad used to run the Courier. And they used to pick the Black College All-American team. And the banquet was here in Pittsburgh, so some of the top black colleges for years would send their All-Americans and have a banquet in Pittsburgh. So Bill Nunn
What
had...
hotel?
I think it was the Westin or the Hilton, one of those. But Bill Nunn, so he had inside information on some of the black players. So when Dan Rooney, who gets most of the credit for hiring him,
it was a good hire.
Brought him in.
It was a good hire.
Yeah, and he brought in some guys. But here's a side note. The black players hated Bill Nunn because Bill Nunn knew that you could get some of these guys in the 6th, 7th round where they had first round talent. So they didn't
have to pay them first round money.
So history tells you that they were all great, and a lot of them made the Hall of Fame, but a lot of them really had a dislike for Bill Nunn because he actually
hurt them financially.
He hurt them financially, and because they knew they could hide him, you know, and that was a smart move. So look at all that talent that he brought in
Donnie
from colleges
Shell,
nobody
John
heard of.
Stallworth,
Sam
C.
Davis,
Greenwood.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on, and Mel Blount. Even.
Yeah.
You know, these guys came from schools that nobody had ever heard from.
Nobody ever heard of, and they were
Except
all
for
great.
Smoking Jim Frazier.
Yeah, even Joe Gilliam from Tennessee State, you know, what a great quarterback he was.
And yeah, a lot of people forget that in 1974, Gilliam beat Bradshaw as the starting quarterback.
Yeah,
yes, he
and
did.
His off-the-field activities affected his on-the-field performance, and Chuck Noll didn't play fools.
Yeah. Ladies and gents, players and pimps, they gonna show up, man. The drug boys is gonna show up when you got
Jefferson
money.
Street.
Yeah, they named a street after him down there in Tennessee, definitely.
Yeah.
And man, he had an arm on him, though.
Probably named a little something out on him in Harlem too.
It was tragic what happened to him.
Yeah, he actually died at 50 years old.
Yeah.
Really?
But he played for a semi-pro football team here in Pittsburgh, and I'll wrap this up real quick. I know we got to go.
Was it the Colts?
We got
Called
2
the
minutes.
It's called
We
the
got 2
Pittsburgh
minutes.
Wolfpack.
Okay.
And they actually had so many black college players on their team, and they won a national championship and played at Valley Stadium. And their starting free safety was Virgil, who was in the wrestling with Ted DiBiase. And he used to wear tassels on the side. And you talking about guy, he was 235 and used to play safety, was hitting people. So it was a great, great team. And then Joe Gilliam went with the Memphis Showboats and was a starter then he got back on drugs.
Memphis Showboats, that's where Reggie White started out.
Reggie White as well, and that running back from
University of Tennessee.
And that great running back from Oklahoma that left after Marcus Dupree.
Marcus Dupree.
Yeah.
That's where he broke his leg at there, but ended his career. So
Thanks for a little
19-year-old
more
kid.
fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac, going
Thank you,
back in
sir.
history, folks.
Usually when I say the M word is Monroeville, but this time it was Memphis.
Well, you know, we've
Thank
got
you,
the final preseason game Thursday night. Ho hum, who's going to watch?
Me.
You know, you're going to find out who's going to be the Steelers Rookie of the Year this year. Is he going to be playing on the field that night?
I want to see our great white tight end, Vince McDonald. Oh, McDonald.
Oh, Vance, I thought.
Vance.
Well, this show's almost over. Hope you enjoyed it with Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, and Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We covered a lot of sports and some extracurricular type stuff that Smoking Jim likes to bring to the table, and he's always trying to stir up Chip. But I think Chip fended him off pretty well with that.
You know what?
That long no hitter that 9 o'clock you're in the 7th or 8th inning. That's an early night, Smoking Jim. But we're down to the last 10 seconds. I always end the show with "Stay Joey Strong."